Woodrow Wilson once said that the easiest way to make enemies is to try and change something. And I think from what we've heard over the last few days, the Airports Commission has really set about trying to change something. Let's hope that the enmity doesn't last too long. What I want to talk to you about this morning is what we need to do in the interim phase between the recommendation and the actual commissioning of infrastructure. And I think you already heard from Phil this morning when he said that a fundamental pillar of the Commission's report is that existing infrastructure is going to have to be optimized in the period it's going to take between the recommendation being examined and the commissioning of the infrastructure. And to my thinking, we have quite a period of time to wait. I think it's going to be the back end of the 2020s before we see any physical infrastructure actually up and operating. Now, in the meantime, what can we do? And what can London City do in terms of filling some of that gap? Well, for those of you who don't know it, London City Airport is 28 years old this year, and arguably, London City Airport is the last new runway that was delivered in the UK in the last 30 years. We handle just over 4 million passengers this year, 75,000 flights, and we deliver about £750 million of economic benefit to London and the South East. Now, we're also London's most punctual airport, and when you combine that with our 2015 proposition, which gives us the fastest door-to-plane and plane-to-train experience of any airport in the UK, we've seen a phenomenal growth in passenger numbers in the last 3 years. We're up almost 40% in terms of passenger numbers. We're also, as I like to say, London, the only London airport that's actually in London. We're the best located airport in London, within 10 minutes of Canary Wharf, 20 minutes of the city, and 30 minutes of the West End, where 96% of all business-related aviation traffic passengers go. We're also extremely well positioned for the growth of London. London is growing, 8.5 million in the population today. Within the next 12 to 15 years, that's going to grow by 2 million people. And within the same time period, 60% of the population of London will live in East London, really growing the catchment area around London City Airport. And the good news is we've got permission to grow. We have permission granted in 2009 by one Boris Johnson to grow the total number of flights from London City Airport to 120,000 movements. So we can add as many as 45,000 new short and medium haul movements into the London system over the next 10 to 15 years. Now, to do that, we have to provide infrastructure. And we plan to spend 250 to 300 million pounds to build infrastructure at London City Airport. Very importantly, it requires no public funding. So unlike some of the schemes you've been hearing about over the last day and a bit, we require no public funding. The existing transport infrastructure will meet the needs of the increased passenger numbers that we will handle, and we'll handle about 10% of the projected growth in passenger numbers into the London airport system. It's expected to grow about 30 million passengers over the next 5 to 10 years. And we don't have an air quality problem. Air quality around London City Airport is extremely good. We're not building any new runways, and we're not building an extension to the existing runway. What we're proposing to do is build 7 new stands, a parallel taxiway, and some extra terminal infrastructure. And what that will do is give us a greater efficiency on our runway, improving the runway efficiency by about 25%, and also handling some of the problems that we've seen developing as a sign of our success over the last 3 years or so. We need the extra terminal space. But it also opens up huge new opportunities for our airport and also for London, because it allows us to access the next generation of aircraft. And those next generation of aircraft, the Bombardier C Series, the Embraer E2, and others, are up to 20% more fuel efficient. They're much, much cleaner than the aircraft that are currently operating. And really importantly, in terms of the debate that we've been having over the last few days, in terms of noise, they're much, much quieter. They are also longer ranged, and that opens up a great opportunity to build connectivity between London City Airport and the rest of the world. Today, our maximum range with a full aircraft is about 1,000 nautical miles. With these next generation aircraft, we almost triple that. What that means that is going to be direct connections from London City Airport to Delhi, Mumbai, the Gulf, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Doha, Istanbul, Moscow, and that's all to the east, and in the west to Toronto, Montreal, Chicago, Boston, and supplement what we're already doing on a twice daily basis into New York. That's direct connectivity between the key business centres and the centre of London, and I think that's a huge opportunity that we have to grasp. And I think that development also meets a number of the concerns that the Commission have identified in the report. It provides extra capacity for the London airport system. It introduces quieter, cleaner, more fuel-efficient aircraft. It allows more international and domestic connectivity. And at the moment, London City Airport is providing a significant amount of regional connectivity between London, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and the north of England. We'll handle 6 million passengers up by 2023. We'll generate at least an additional 750 million, 1.5 billion in economic wealth, and we'll generate an additional 2,000 jobs, very, very important in an unemployment black spot in East London. Coincidentally, we'll also support some of the economic growth that was mentioned in the previous panel. There's a huge level of development and inward investment coming into East London, and having an airport right in the middle of that is stimulating that growth, and we've seen that with examples of a new Chinese multinational European headquarters sector being established, a £2 billion project, 20,000 jobs, and it's located 1,000 metres north of our runway because our runway is there. Now, the only problem is, and this is a cautionary tale, you have to have a planning system and you have to have a political system that's willing to implement and allow those changes to happen. We already have planning permission for an increase in flights into London City. We have next generation aircraft available and coming in. Swiss and Lufthansa intend to be flying the Bombardier C Series from London City Airport from early 2016. We already in London City Airport operate under one of the most rigorous noise regimes of any airport in Europe. And we're enhancing that through our proposed planning application. The GLA's own technical people and their planners were absolutely satisfied with our noise analysis and the mitigation of the noise. And yet, Boris Johnson went against the recommendation of his planners, went against the recommendation of his technical advisors, went against the recommendation of his deputy mayors, and inexplicably turned down the planning permission that we've been awarded by Newham. Now, if they're prepared to do that with London City Airport, what's the chance of a new runway at Heathrow? So, something else. Yesterday, listening to John Holland Kay and listening to the speakers, we heard a lot about transport links. Crossrail. Crossrail comes right from the northwest of London to the southeast of London. It passes under the runway at London City, but for some strange reason, it doesn't stop there. It stops at Custom House at Excel, which is a very worthy stop, but it involves a shuttle bus and additional ground transportation to access London City Airport. We are proposing to build a Crossrail station at London City Airport on the site of a disused railway station, which is on grade and within 150 metres of our front door. It'll be entirely funded privately. It will offer huge benefits, not least of which the opportunity to link a short and medium haul airport with wonderful connectivity to Europe with a medium and long haul airport at Heathrow. So it's not inconceivable to see passengers flying into London City Airport, getting on Crossrail, 40 minutes later arriving in Heathrow and transferring onto long haul and reversing that journey on the way back. Thank you very much.